guys? It's Workin, bringing you a quick update on Bitcoin. Hope you guys are having a wonderful afternoon. I want to send, as always, a big shout out to everyone that has sent tips to the channel, guys, and supported the channel that way. Always do appreciate that, guys. I mean, from the bottom of my heart, thank you very, very much. Obviously, guys, I don't do this for the money. I don't do this for the couple dollars I make per video on YouTube. It's literally nothing. I just do this, as I told you guys, as a way to give back to the community. But it does feel good, if I've helped in any way, and you guys do want to support the channel with a tip. Of course, you can always find the addresses to the tip jar in the comment section below this video. And for those of you that prefer not to use one of those addresses, you'd rather have more of a private address to send a tip to, by all means, send me a private message on Twitter or Discord or Facebook, and I'm very, very happy to send you a private address if you'd like to do that. And I know I've talked to many of you privately. I know you have your reasons for that, and so yeah, if you'd like to do that, by all means, guys, I'm happy to do that. I just really appreciate your support. As always, guys, never feel obligated to do that. That's not why we have this channel. It's not why I started this channel. Started this channel because crypto's been very good to me, and if I can give back in any way, I'm very, very happy to do that. And I really like the community that we've created here, guys. You guys are a bunch of just from what I can tell, just great people, guys. I mean, as much as you can know somebody on the internet, right? But yeah, I mean, you guys are a bunch of great people. You understand that I'm never going to do videos that say Bitcoin is going to $2 billion tomorrow, or the Moon Boys or the Bears. I mean, I'm going to tell you how I honestly feel, and if you enjoy that, great, and if you don't like it, then you don't have to watch. So I really I don't have a stake in this game, guys. If this YouTube channel stays small, then that's great. That's fine with me. I have no problem with that. I mean, and if it blows up, that's great too. That's going to be mostly because of you guys and the great community and everybody spreading the word. So anyway, I just want to point that out, guys. This is just, for me, this is just kind of a fun thing to do and a way to give back to the community. Yes, it does take some time sometimes, and it is time consuming at sometimes, but it's worth it. I feel like if you don't give back, then I'm a big believer in karma. So anyway, I'll just leave it there, guys. I'm going to go ahead and shut my mouth. Let's go ahead and get on to what you guys are here for. Let's look at Bitcoin to the US dollar 4-hour chart on Coinbase. Last time we spoke, Bitcoin was operating right above 11,500, consolidating very tightly. I did tell you that it looked like it was getting ready to move as it was consolidating here, and of course, very shortly after that, we did get a breakdown. I told you if price did end up breaking below 11,500, I told you the next stop was very likely going to be this $10,700 to $10,650 zone that we had marked off. That's exactly where price landed. Actually, to be fair, it was just shy of that. It landed at about $10,769. So we were about $69 shy of the target, but close enough is close enough. And so it came down, bounced off that zone, guys, and we came back up and tested 11,500, or very close to it. And as of now is acting as resistance. So let's wait and see kind of how this plays out, guys. But as long as we're trading between 10,650 and anywhere above, or anywhere up to and including this descending resistance line. If you remember, I pointed out this descending resistance line yesterday. I do believe it's a very, very relevant zone. And a break above this, if you are looking to front run, possibly a break above this, guys, if you want to take on a little bit more risk, might be your first indication that we are coming higher. Now, we're nowhere near there yet, so I don't want to talk too much about it for fear that people might misunderstand me. Really, 12,000 is the zone that I'm watching for a front run, but if you want to be technical about it, we're really going to have to take out 12,400 decisively before I'll start to get bullish on this thing, until we take out 12,400. Again, technical analysis is pretty much agnostic. My personal bias will become bullish if and when we take out this descending resistance line here. So I want to always make sure that I am separating the two, because my personal bias does not necessarily mean that's what the charts are telling me. And I always want to be very, 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 very clear with that, so there's no misunderstanding. All right, that being said, let me discuss a couple different things that kind of is the reason I'm agnostic and not really picking a side here. Now, if we go swing low, swing high, I know I've pointed this out before, but just indulge me. We can see we bounced, of course, right there, a technical bounce right inside the golden pocket, as expected there, guys. Jumped back up, and of course it acknowledged the 50 on the way down. It acknowledged the 236 on the way down. On the way back up here, what did? We rejected initially right there off of the 382 before finally breaking up above it. Then the 382 acted as support, and then of course we broke back down, and now the 382 is acting as resistance. When we broke down, where did we break down to? The 50. So these fibs are, my point is, these fibs are very, very relevant. We are seeing some structure in the market, and that is typically a good thing. to see that structure in the market. That means there's a lot of volume. That means a much more healthy market, and I'm liking the fact that I'm seeing that. That being said, we do need to take out one of these two fibs decisively here in the short term to have a better idea before I start trading and have a better idea of where things are going to be going. So to the upside, of course, we've got 11,500. If that gets taken out, I may start trading small trades to the upside. To the downside, we've got the 50 sitting right on top of that 10,700, and I'd go as low as 10,650. That's the area. If we do break down, I'm going to look for a very, very nice scalp down to shorting down to this 618, which happens to sit right on top of 10,000, which of course was the prior area that price dropped to. I do think a decisive break below that 10,700, really $10,650 zone, a 4-hour open and close would be a very nice trade setup for a short down to at least 10,000. I'd probably get out early at about 10,100, knowing a lot of people are going to be front running that. Now, zooming all the way in on the 4-hour here, guys, I will say, as a more bearish look, the bulls are fighting hard. This is truly an epic battle between the bulls and the bears, guys. It truly, truly is. We've had a 30% correction. Bulls have tried to come up here, was looking bullish for a while, had almost a textbook double top and a rejection. The rejection did not fall the way you would expect it to on a double top. We are finding support right there again at the 50. The 50 is still holding, which again, I have to say that it is truly an epic battle between the bulls and the bears, because I would typically say that's bullish and I would expect a nice bounce, but the fact that we do have this descending resistance line here, as well as the fact that we have broken it here decisively on the 4-hour. However, if I come in here to the daily, we have not yet taken out this zone right around the 50 decisively on the daily chart. We broke below it briefly, but not a decisive break. We have not had an open and close on the daily below below the 50, or below this clear area of what is a visual support. So if this is a very clear visual support, which clearly it is, and of course we pointed out on the 4-hour, we have this descending resistance line, not quite as relevant looking on the daily, but on the 4-hour, extreme. In fact, let me just pull in here so you can see it. Again, on the 4-hour, very relevant, tested numerous times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. I mean, that is a very relevant trend line, descending resistance line on the 4-hour. So it is a very relevant descending resistance line. My point in all of this is, what are you starting to see here, guys? We're really starting to see the possible makings of a descending triangle here. And a descending triangle typically breaks to the downside. However, it can break to the upside. It's not like a rising wedge or a falling wedge where you've got a strong possibility of breaking to the up or the downside respectively. This is a descending triangle does not, even though an ascending triangle has a high probability of breaking up, a descending triangle is not the reverse of that. It doesn't have the high probability of breaking down. It has a probability of breaking down, but that probability, if I'm remembering right, and forgive me if I might be off on this by a little bit, but it's somewhere around 55 to 65% of a percent chance of price breaking down. So that would mean if it's a 55, that means there's a 45% chance of price breaking up, which is not bad if you're a bull. The point, and not to mention, technically, and I know what some of you veteran traders are doing. You're probably screaming at the screen right now saying, Workin, that is not a descending triangle. What are you talking about? And yes, technically you're right. Technically we did have a break here on the daily. So technically you'd be right, but the principle is still the same. So I'm pointing this out to say, if nothing else, on the daily here, we are getting consolidated, and it would suggest a larger move to come. Now again, my bias remains agnostic. I'm not, just because I pointed this out, I can list, as I said, and as I've done, numerous reasons as to why this thing could break up or down. And I know that's so frustrating to hear from an analyst, guys. Believe me, it would be so much easier for me to just pick a side and say we're going down to 2,000 or we're going up to 20,000, and I'd probably get so many clicks and so many more likes and so many more followers and subscribers than I have. I'm never going to do that to you. I promised you I wouldn't do that. I promised you I wouldn't do the clickbait thing, or the grandiose statements, guys, to get subscribers. That's not what this channel is about. This channel is either going to grow organically based off of me being 100% genuine with you, or it's just not going to grow and will remain small. And I'm just fine with remaining small. In fact, I can answer more of your questions better that way. So, again, my point in all this, I don't have a major bias. Yes, I'm scalp trading, very, very small trades, but as far as many major swing trades or really any major day trades, I'm pretty much sidelined for the most part. I have my long-term hold portfolio, which is my, I'm an investor and a trader. Investing, guys, I hold for the long term. I'm not going to touch those. Those I haven't sold. Those I'm not going to sold. Those are just that long-term holds. But my trading portfolio is pretty much neutral at the moment. Again, small scalp trades here. And in fact, let me just go check. Okay, I'm back with you. Yeah, I'm completely neutral right now, guys. I mean, I'd like to sit here and BS you and tell you that I bought this drop down here, but I didn't. Yesterday was the 4th of July here, and I really wasn't doing much trading. So I'm pretty neutral at the moment. I've got a couple. I'm hedging my bets a couple ways, but for the most part, my portfolio is neutral, and I'm waiting for a decisive move. And of course, what's the decisive move? As we talked about, guys, a break above this descending resistance line will certainly get my attention and probably get me back into the game. Not until we break above 12,000 am I going to feel strongly about a break to the upside, and technically it's not until we break above 12,400 decisively that technically that technical analysis tells us that probability we're going to continue up. So those are the zones that I'm watching, and of course breaking down below, as I said, $10,650. That's when it's going to be a quick drop to. That's when technically we're going to very likely see a quick drop to 10,000. 10,000 does break down, guys. Of course, we did break it slightly here, which means that has been softened up. We'll have to wait and see if it holds. But if it does break down, we're either going to get a nice bounce off that for a nice double bottom, or I think we're going to get a pretty hard reject or a pretty hard breakthrough. And at that point, it's going to come back down to at least 9,400. In all fairness, as I told you, I do still have my buy orders sitting down here at 9,400. That has not changed. They've been sitting there since actually since June 29th, I think it was. So that's the zone I'm kind of watching before we'll all start to add to my long position and also start looking for some decent swing trades. And of course, to be fair, I've got buys laddered in between 9,400 all the way down to and including 8,500. Remembering 8,500 for those of you that would have missed it. And if you haven't watched my prior videos, then maybe you have. If you have watched my prior videos, there's no way you did miss it. We've got this major gap on the CME chart between 8,500 and 8,870. This is very likely. I'd like to see this get filled. I'd really like to see this get filled before we continue up and take out this $13,850 high. I'd like to see us fill this gap first, just because we know probability says we are going to eventually come down and fill this gap at some point. Doesn't have to happen now, but at some point we are going to come back down and fill this gap statistically. Again, it doesn't have to happen at all, to be honest with you, but probability says that it very, very likely will. So I'd like to get that out of the way, a nice healthy correction, get this out of the way, fill this gap, and get a nice spring up here. Bitcoin doesn't care what I think, but if I had my druthers, that's what would happen. That's what would make me feel good about a continuation to the upside. All right, looking at the 4-hour, checking our moving averages, exponential moving averages, we can see that, wow. I mean, we can say, okay, the 4 hours showing the Bollinger Band started to constrict. There's no question about that. They are starting to bottleneck, and that could happen very, very quickly. In fact, they look like they're playing chicken with each other. We've just basically got the bottom staring at the top, driving right towards each other, but that's not what's getting my eye. What's getting my eye is here, and this is very rare. We're literally seeing the 8, 21, and 55-day EMA all converging almost literally right on top of each other. We're also seeing the 50 simple converge right on top of the 50, 21, or excuse me, the 55, 21, and 8-day EMA. So we've got these 4 very relevant exponential moving averages and simple moving average, the 50 simple, all converging right on top of one another. That does, and especially when you see that in conjunction with a bottlenecking of the Bollinger Bands, this would suggest a much, much larger move to come, I would say, in the next 24 to 48 hours, fairly soon. Certainly doesn't mean it has to happen, guys. Please don't misunderstand me. It certainly doesn't mean it has to happen, but that's very rare to see them that close, that converged right on top of each other there. That converge. I can't seem to speak English. I don't know why that's a tongue twister to me. But it's very rare to see them on top of one another like that. All right, looking at the daily chart, we are finding support again right on top of that 21-day EMA. Extremely, extremely bullish sign. We are below the 8-day EMA, guys. That's expected. I'm not too concerned about that. As long as we maintain above the 21-day EMA, guys, that is a very, very bullish sign. I can even accept a wick below that. The second we get a daily candle, both opening and closing below the 21-day EMA, that's when I think we have much further downside to go. I can accept a close, but not an open and close. That happens, we got much further downside to go. We're not there yet, guys, so don't panic. Just kind of giving you an idea of what we're watching. If we do get a decisive break below this, guys, of course, I do think a quick drop down to the 50 simple would be very much in the cards, and of course, that would line up very well with that $9,400 zone that we've been eyeballing. Actually, that brings us down to about 9,300, and of course, that 9,400 is a zone, is a range. If we come over here and look at the 4-hour, as I pointed out to you numerous times, this 9,400 $400 area is a range right here. That was the last major area of consolidation before Bitcoin went parabolic, literally sitting between about 9,000 and 9,400. So certainly that's within the margin of error, and that 50 would make sense for a next area of support if it does end up breaking down decisively. On the weekly still looking fairly bullish, guys. Still testing the top of the Bollinger Bands there on the weekly, guys. Again, looking very bullish. We've got again a lot of light between the 821 and 55 day, or 821 and 55 week EMA. So again, a lot of a rather bullish looking weekly. Even if we do correct here in the short term, still a very rather bullish looking weekly. It's not until we do take out about 8,500 that I do start to get very concerned. We can correct up to and including 8,500, guys, and it's not going to faze me one bit as far as my bullish perspective for the long term here. Zooming in on the 4-hour, putting our volume on, guys, and yeah, we can clearly see we have a nice little downtrend in volume here, guys. No question about it. That's been following that for a while. And again, that also would suggest we may get a larger move in price here in the next 24 to 48 hours, in my opinion. Let's look and check the daily. Overall daily volume sitting at about 24.4 billion. That is quite a bit of a downtick from what we were seeing. Let's see, we were at about 29, 31, 30 billion, and then dropping down to 25 billion. Now sitting at 24 billion. So yeah, certainly a noticeable drop in volume. Let's wait and see how this plays out, guys. Yeah, it does look like Bitcoin is going to want to make a larger move. Certainly, not certainly, but potentially here in the next. And then I'd say more. I mean, if I'm looking at this, if this is in fact descending, I'd say it'd look more like, you know, possibly 4 days or so. But yeah, I don't know it's going to last that long, guys. I think well, we are going into a weekend, so it's going to be very interesting, guys. If not 48 hours, I'd say at least Monday or Tuesday of next week, possibly 72 hours or so. We'll have to wait and see how it plays out, especially if that does continue. But regardless of when it does break out, guys, your job is to just be ready for it. And I've given you the targets. I've given you the price points to watch, to look at for confirmation, guys. You do with that what you will. Not a financial advisor, never financial advice, but I do wish you all the best of luck. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap things there. I'm going to answer your questions and your comments, guys, in a following video after this. That way my videos aren't so long. For those that don't care about the comments and are tired of hearing me talking, they can just skip that. But if you do want to hear that, guys, if you want to see some altcoin analysis and basically just answering some of your questions, we'll talk about you know, the national debt. We'll talk about Bitcoin adoption. We'll talk about what I think about institutional money coming in. You know, is it going to happen right away? Is it going to not happen? We'll talk about all that on the next video. I'm going to go ahead and wrap things there. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, please let me know in the comment section below. As always, appreciate an upvote if you have enjoyed this content. Until next time, guys, please trade safe. Take care of yourselves. This is Workin, signing out.